Years ago, I picked up this CZ75 BD police version. Was extremely impressed, so much so that for 3 years I carried this CZ-P-07 in the waistband. I thought I'd see what everybody was talking about with the CZ75 SP-01 Tactical, and today we're going to do a tabletop review. Stay tuned. Well, hey guys, it's Dr. Drake 63, and today we're going to look at this guy right here, the CZ75 SP-01 Tactical in 9mm. I've had CZ75s in the past. My favorite was the BD Decocker version, which is what I like. I don't like safeties on guns, but look at this beauty. You can see right here, this is a decocker version. What does that mean? That means if I cock this, I can decock it simply by pushing down on this decocker, and it puts it into a half cock position. But you're going to notice a couple things right off the bat. The True Dot, which is a CZ sighting system. We'll talk about that a little bit. But that's a nice tritium night sight. And unlike the CZ75, this has a rail system on it. Why is that important? Well, for a firearm like this, which we're going to talk about relative weight and everything else in a minute, for a firearm like this, I'm probably not ever going to carry this inside the waistband, but this would make a great truck or nightstand gun, and like to throw lights on stuff like that. But as you can see, it's a nicely built gun. It's built around the CZ75, which is, some people consider the best 9mm metal firearm ever made. You can see right here it comes with a couple 18-round magazines, so 18 plus 1. So that's plenty of capacity. But we're going to talk about this. We're going to compare it in weight to a couple other firearms right here. You see 1911 standard size and a Glock 19. So we're gonna talk about that, but first we're just gonna take a look at this beauty. So as you can see, is in addition to being a higher capacity magazine, I think the standard CZ75 was 16, so they sneak a couple more. You do get a little bit of a finger extension, which in my mind you probably don't need with this firearm. I've got fairly big hands, but definitely a lot to grab a hold of, and again, I would definitely classify this as a sidearm. As a sidearm, if you want to look at it dimensionally compared to what you get with, say, a 1911, which I would consider a sidearm, you'd see it's pretty much the same deal, right? You've got the long slide, everything else, and as far as what you have, as far as what you're holding on to, here's where my hand comes, bottom of my hand on a 1911. Here's where the bottom of my hand comes on this CZ. So it's about the same, you just have this extension there. Okay. One of the things I really like about the CZ, and this has been something that others like Koenig have copied, which you can't blame them, is this what I call beveled well around the trigger guard. Okay, that's a really deep bevel. And if you compare that to, say, a 1911, same kind of concept, just not near as much. Here you've got a much bigger trigger guard, and that, like I said, that's beveled. So this comes with 2 of those magazines, so you might have a need for more. You see that lock over there? It's the first thing I got out of my box. I don't know why that would go in there. I don't know why that would be considered a gun lock. Anyway, all the new CZ75s come with a very nice little comprehensive manual. And because it's such a versatile platform, you know, you've got interchangeability, the instruction manual and everything, you know, in case you don't know how to cock it, kind of thing. But it's a very comprehensive manual. And Here you can see all the different versions of the CZ, the 75B, the CZ70B SA, which is single action only, BD, which is the B Decocker version, the Police, which basically has a lanyard on the bottom, as does this one. A little bit steadier view of the different versions of the 75. It's been an extremely successful design world over. Before the Glock came along, it was the standard for 9mm worldwide. Great gun. So first we're going to weigh this new CZ. Set that guy up on the scale, and you're going to see that it weighs 2 pounds, 5.55 ounces. For purposes of comparison, what's that like versus a standard size Colt 1911? It's heavier, 2 pounds, 3.0 ounces for the 1911. And then we'll compare it with my in the waistband carry, which is the Glock 19, 1 pound, 5.6 ounces. So this one is quite a bit less in weight in terms of what you see with this CZ. Okay, it's a full pound lighter. Now, apples to apples, you know, I can put 18 plus 1 in this. In this Glock, I can put 15 plus 1, so that's pretty close. You know, I'm only going 7 plus 1 with a standard magazine on the 1911, so there is that. Okay. But in terms of just the weight, hey, that's got to be considered when you're carrying around all day, and that's why when I look at something like this CZ, I'm thinking again, sidearm, something that you definitely want to have holstered outside of your waistband if you're going to carry it, or nightstand gun, or, you know, what's going to be the most common use for me is taking this to the range and shooting it. Apologize a little bit for the low quality here in the low light, but you can see what kind of sight picture you do get with these night sights, and plenty of sight picture for me. Now, in terms of taking this down, it's pretty easy. It's not as easy as a Glock. It's easier than a 1911, kind of in between. As always, we want to make sure that we don't have any rounds in there, which we don't. First thing you're going to notice right here, you'll see a line, and you'll see a line right here. This line and that line, and what you need to do is move this slide back far enough so that these guys match up. And when they have, then you're ready. You can take usually the bottom of the magazine and depress this. So it's hard to show you and do it at the same time, but again, I'm lining up these two lines, and now I can take the bottom of a magazine or whatever I want. And that takedown pin comes right off. And there you go. There's your frame. Here's your slide. It's as basic as you can get. Guide rod. Some guys immediately want to replace stuff like this with tungsten or metal or uranium or whatever the hell they want to use. I've never had a plastic one go out on me, but I don't shoot, you know, I don't shoot pistol matches where something like that could happen. And then you have your barrel, and there you have it. Pretty basic. This is exact same barrel design that I had on the 75 BD, because it's same gun. The only thing that was different is this change on the frame right here to accommodate a rail, and that's basically it. That's basically it. So in order to reassemble, you drop down in here. Your spring can be without an end cap because it's going into, you can see right here, a captured kind of scenario. Okay, so it's just as simple as pushing that in, and then it's as simple as lining up your slide, and there you go. And again, I want to get back to where those two lines are lined up. And that's a matter of just pushing my takedown pin back in. There you go. Nothing could be easier than that. So, once again, lined up. Once again, push that down with something. Now this is a rubber handled tool, so that makes it easier. And then you can pull this guy right out. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. So I like this. It's like I said, it's not quite as easy as a Glock. It's easier than 1911, kind of in between as far as taking it down. But what I really like I said, I really like these decockers because it gives you the ability, if you are in a cocked position and you decide you want to be in an uncocked position, you don't have to mess around with the trigger. Now you're in a half-cocked position. And that's still something where you can pull the trigger, but it's a full double action pull. Okay, whereas back here, it's very light. It's a single action pull. Full double action from the hammer depressed position, or again, same situation. Nothing's going to happen here. It really takes a deliberate double action pull. I'm also going to show you, here's a weapons mounted light. This is a TRL-3, okay, by Streamlight. And this is set up for the Glock. So you'll see this little cross piece right here. You can switch these out at various positions just based on the firearm you have. So keeping in mind this is set up for the Glock. If I go back to this furthest back rail section right here, it clamps on just fine. Tighten this guy down, and you're going to see a little bit of space between the front of the trigger guard and the back of this light. Now ideally I'd want to move this back about another 1/4 inch, and I'll need to change out the insert on the TRL. But I like the position of it. It fits on there snug, and as far as, you know, operating it with the size of my hand, no problem. Constant on or just momentary on, okay? So, I mean, from that standpoint, it fits with the trigger guard just fine. And if I had it really any farther back, it might be interfering with my trigger pull. So this actually might be right about where I want it. But like I said, it's, you know, pick up the gun, you're ready to go. Okay. So, I prefer that 3-position kind of rail, or this is actually, yeah, this is a 3-position rail, to something like this with the Glock, which is just 1 position. Okay, and part of that is, you know, obviously you've got a shorter barrel, a shorter slide, and that's going to have something to do with it. So in the whole realm of black gun-ology for self-defense, this Glock 19 is kind of the gold standard for me. It's a good fit inside the waistband. It's got that nice combination between shootability, decent size for absorbing recoil, decent barrel length for velocity, and above all else, fits in the waistband real nice for concealed carryability. Okay, but if I'm going to compare that to this, we're really talking apples and oranges when we're talking about the CZ and any of the full-size 75s. We really are talking about apples and oranges, because this is just a heavier, stouter affair. It's got a longer barrel. It's going to shoot more accurately typically just because of the longer sight radius, a little bit better velocity with the barrel length. And it's an all-metal gun. So this is by no means anything to sneeze at in terms of self-defense. It's just that most guys aren't going to want to have this thing pulling their belt down around their ankles. And for that reason, I view this as a sidearm. I view this as a nightstand gun. I view this as a truck gun. I view this as something that you carry a lot of places other than in the waistband. I got a lot of guns like that, though. But just overall impressions, you know, I've got it loaded up now with a full magazine, and all I can tell you is that I've got experience with this platform. I've always been impressed with the CZ. It's nice to get a nice new fresh set of tritium lamps in here for night vision. And like I said, the only thing I never liked about the 75B was if you wanted to slap a light on it, you couldn't. And guess what? That's what they basically resolved with this. And this will take standard CZ magazines as well. I'll also point out that most of the time when you get a CZ, it's got like a hard grip on it. This is the rubberized grip, which has always been a favorite. And all in all, CZ quality for not only handguns, but I've owned shotguns of theirs and things of that nature, and the quality's always good, guys. They're a great company. They're based in the Czech Republic, and they import through CZ in Kansas City. But this is made in the Czech Republic. They've been doing a great job making firearms for a long time. So anyway, this is just a tabletop review. Looking forward to getting this out and putting some rounds down range. We'll show you some target picks and give you a shooting overview next time. Thanks for watching. This is DR Drake 63 saying carry on, guys.